a whole series of scenarios where if the leader is not behaving in a certain way, we will never have a dialogue that would facilitate the kind of problem-solving issues of big problems in the company that we needed to define. Leaders Teaching Leaders had that capability. We began to absorb and integrate some of the thinking and some of that resolution of how to change the behavior of a leader. And that became key to the success of this next tier of leadership development at Steelcase, and it made a tremendous difference.
What really stood out to me was this whole idea that leaders actually lead each other, and the engagement of everybody in working on things, working together, is pretty powerful.
Brought in what we call flow dialogue, where we keep the same principles, making sure everyone has a voice and is heard, but we get the spontaneity. If you've got an idea, you can express it, but you're still doing it respectful of the other people in the room and mindful that they may have a voice on that. So we established a couple principles that were consistent with what we already had established, and just made us much, much more effective as an executive team. The title itself, Leaders Leading Leaders, because you get into leaders and followers, and everyone kind of leads and follows at a different time. And if you can really embrace the fact that everyone is a leader, and I think through a coaching approach, it's about kind of coaching each other, collaborating, learning from each other, but it's about each of us reaching our own individual potential. And I think that it's very consistent with what I've learned from Jeff and how he coaches me, and as that's cascaded across the organization, I think we finally got the tools and the approach for every individual to really realize their potential, and that's really how the organization wins.
It's some of the things I've learned from Jeff and Leaders Leading Leaders. It's caused me to really pause and rethink everything I do. And some of the things that Jeff has brought to us has served as important tools on how to really move from that culture of command and control to one that's really a leadership network. I think as you look at our organization's operating results, we clearly are trending in the right direction. And yet we're still very early on in the execution mode when it comes to some of our most transformational strategies and objectives. And so I think I would attribute that to the amount of time we've invested in changing our culture. And Jeff and Leading Leaders has certainly had a big part in that.
We have been extremely intentional, and it is throughout our entire organization. So we have fostered it in several ways. Through integrated teaming, and through this is our channel of communication. So we have employed these dialogue methods. We have circular dialogue, we have rules around our dialogue, and we have facilitators in our meetings, we have leads, and we have basically, through our entire management structure, cascaded this down to every associate in the organization. And this is how we work. Leading Leaders has made a significant impact in, I think, the individual leader's personal growth and how we operate as a team, and assisted us in moving our business forward.
Out to the organization, I think it's been more modeling by behaviors. As we've learned from Jeff, we take that to the teams that we lead and model some of these same things, get them to be specific about the dialogue they're about to have. What do they hope to accomplish out of this dialogue? And so I guess modeling it is probably how I would describe that we're continuing to cascade it through the organization.
I said what Jeff's work resonated with my personality, what my beliefs in treating people with decency and integrity. But the training he provided for me and for the staff here, I've seen their career development. We've been very blessed to have people begin their careers right out of college and still be here, whether it's 10, 20 years later. And in large part, I believe that it was working with Jeff, because we helped these people navigate through the changes in their career. As the business needed more from them, they were able to give it. We had one or two people that that left the organization and went on to do really well for themselves. I believe what we did for them was make that available to them because of the Leading Leaders training we provided. But most importantly, the people that are here and have stayed here have had great careers. Their incomes of multiples of what they had when they started with us, and the impact they have on our clients is why our clients stay with us long term. So it's been very, very gratifying to see the impact of the Leading Leaders training.
One of the things one learns in Leading Leaders is there are folks who are inherently aggressive talkers, speakers. It's not going to take much for me to make sure I share my idea, okay? But I think oftentimes what happens if that isn't done in an effective dialogue manner that Leading Leaders allows for, other folks who are just as significant kinds of leaders, but they are observers or they're challengers, those folks, as a result of Leading Leaders, learning that, hey, it's actually just as important to be an observer. It's just as important to be a challenger, if you will. As a result of people being allowed and willing to display their solution, their answer to the solution, it became very clear that all of those pieces to the puzzle needed to be out there as solutions, not just one of them. And we ended up with a product that changed, really, in our world, in our marketplace, it changed that marketplace. And it has to this day. And that's going on 15 years now. But all the result of displaying.
This is not altruistic, right? This is, in many respects, this is around getting what you want. If you can't go into a meeting and get positive outcomes, you're in a tough spot, right? And so using tools that came from Leading Leaders was effective in getting results out of meetings. And so therefore you say, wait a minute, this Leading Leaders thing might have some merit, some help for us. And so we started using more and more of it because it was getting effective results. And that's really what ties you. I think the concept in its own right, I think, makes sense. We all want to lead leaders. We all want to be inclusive. I think the actual execution is really where the merit and the magic happens, and that's certainly been the case for us. I mean, we're over probably close to 10 years now, I think, working with Jeff, and it's because of that work. It's because of the results we see from that.
Working with Leading Leaders has helped our organization evolve from a more traditional culture where people aren't as willing to discuss issues they may have on their mind to one where we're able to get together and air those issues out, bring them to the surface. I think it has made us more productive. I think it does build trust amongst the team, and I think it fits better with my leadership style, which is one where we all need to step up and lead and follow simultaneously.
I feel like it has really relaxed the attitude in the office, being able to express ourselves so freely. It also helps with certain difficult people in the office. I think every office has a difficult employee that you just can't quite get along with all the time. But his techniques definitely help in making those conversations easier and more productive, even when you don't want to have them. Leading Leaders has really changed the culture of our organization and has helped tremendously in getting us to work together as a team.
Yeah, Leading Leaders really helped us take the organization from a group of individual and highly successful leaders who were leading their organizations to a point where we were leading the organization together. We came to consensus around what is the direction, what is the need, what are the forces from externally that we have to manage, how can we come together across organizational lines, and Leading Leaders allowed us to do that. So we started with our own selves and becoming more self-aware. We learned methods through leading leaders to communicate better with each other. We were able to communicate very well with each other one-on-one outside of the meeting, so you didn't always have to get to a meeting to have decisions made, to work out conflict, either from the people that reported to us or among each other. And so we ultimately achieved a level of synergy that allowed us to be highly successful in a very competitive and sometimes defensive environment.